So that we know in general, the process of getting student loans, let alone paying for student loans, can be a sort of soul-crushing, depressing experience. But for some, it's actually worse, and in ways that they might not even know they're being screwed over. So I want to talk about an experiment that was run by a group that applied for dozens of loans online. These are student loans posing as a 24-year-old man. In all of their applications, they say that he lives in New York, works as a financial analyst, and makes $50,000 a year, and he's trying to get these student loans. Each time the group applied for a loan, it kept a whole range of factors about who that person was constant. The only difference was where he was going to be going to school with that money. So this is according to the Civil Rights Council at the nonprofit Student Borrower Protection Center. So it applied as if this fictional borrower went to NYU in New York, many other schools, and Howard University, one of the country's most famous historically black colleges and universities. And what they found is amazing, and I cannot believe it has not been bigger news. Like NPR did a great write-up, and some other people did cover it, but this should be a major scandal. The group found that if the otherwise identical loan applicant went to NYU instead of Howard, there was a striking difference. For a $30,000 personal loan with a 5-year term, it found an applicant would pay about $3,500 more in interest and fees if they went to Howard. And again, the person is the same, their job is the same, their income is the same, all of that is the same. Literally the only thing that was manipulated in this experiment was where they were going to go to school with that money. And they would have to pay, that's more than 10% of the loan in extra interest, not in interest, in extra interest.
So the thing is, I don't know if they gave the name of the group that was given. There was,
I believe it's the Student Borrower Protection Center.
Yeah, and the explanation
that was doing the experiment.
Yeah, but the explanation needs to come from the potential people who are granting the loan to see what, I mean, we know what it could be and what it looks like it is. They need to go ahead and give us that explanation. That's the thing, because people like say, well, let's wait and see it. You never know what this was not. Hey, it's a scientific experiment where you have variables that are all the same except for one difference. So we already know what the difference is, and we see the difference in the result. And this happens across the board with folks in this country. I mean, not even just black folks, Latinos, anyone that they can see. We've seen this when it began with names. If you name your child Stacy or Jessica instead of traditionally what you would think would be an African-American sounding name, then opportunities come from school, housing loans, jobs. And I didn't think it would go as far as school loans, because how can they explain it? Again, we need to see explanation.
Well, so far they don't have to.
Well,
we'll see if maybe they will.
If anybody actually picks up more on this and keeps their feet to the fire on it.
Yeah.
So we'll get people that complain all the time, or complain, the black folks complain about the way they're treated systemically throughout the whole country in every aspect of life. From the kind of car you drive to where the police respond to you. Like, why don't you guys just get over it? Hey, it's been this many years since the Civil Rights era. Martin Luther King fought for your rights, and look what we got now. It stays, things hold on this way. I mean, from the criminal justice system, everything, we know this happens this way, but the reason why this story's not catching is because it's so across the board that we're like, we've seen this before, who cares? Get over it. But if it happened to any other group on a large scale like this, we would not be getting over this.
See, I feel like if we've seen it before and we're seeing it again, that's more reason.
You would think, you know what, John,
because
you have a thought process.
I'm trying.
No one's trying to fix it, not no one, but the levers of power are not trying to fix this problem because it doesn't benefit them.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about other things that they found. So the group also found that you'd pay more if you went to New Mexico State University in Las Cruces, which has a high percentage of Hispanic students. Randomly, you'd pay more for going there. Like randomly.
Again,
maybe it was the name. The name's long. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what else it could be. I can't figure it out. And so, look, I want to read a little bit of the conclusion from the report summarizing this information. So this is the Education Redlining Report, and one of their conclusions they say is, communities of color have historically been locked out of mainstream credit markets. But while companies tout the use of education-based criteria in underwriting as a means to broaden credit access for marginalized consumers, the use of such factors may actually undermine equitable access to credit. Indeed, by creating situations where protected classes of consumers are offered less favorable credit terms, the use of education data in credit underwriting decisions can reinforce systemic barriers to economic opportunity. So the sort of involvement in financing for college and the fact that they have access to that information in the first place is hypothetically supposed to help to fix the system, but it is itself being used to create new avenues for discrimination.
Is how it works. Okay, remember just at the State of the Union, Trump was speaking about how he's done so many things for black folks, unemployment. Hey, here's this one black girl in the audience, I'm gonna give her this scholarship, cool. That is the remedy that many of our politicians approach with this. Like, hey, let's go ahead and let's give this nominal gift to someone and say that we're helping black folks across the board, because that's apparently how it's supposed to work. So if you actually wanted to prove to a certain segment of voters that you care and you think you should have an equal balance of power in our country, you would attack something like this. This is when you actually mean it. During the New Hampshire primary, even with the Democrats, they were fighting over Joe Biden and someone else were fighting over who has the African American vote. While they're talking about how many black folks like them, they're not talking about policies that are put in place to keep black folks down and how they want to attack those things to make sure that all people have the same opportunities in this country. If you want to help people, do things instead of say, hey, they like me. You know why? Because I always go to South Carolina. What does that mean? Why does that have anything to do with them liking you and them having given a reason to vote for you? Give me some policies and find out things that are actually destroying the lives of many people in the country and try to change those.
Yeah, and I wish that we lived in a world where, like, let's say we were having a debate on, like, like a sort of small issue, like is there racism in America? And like then we discover science, and we're like, we can look into it and we can see if there's discrimination. And then we were to show the evidence of it, and then that was to change people's minds. That would be an amazing world to live in, but we don't. And so, let's cut now to a Tommy Lauren thing about how you should something bootstraps. But like most of the people, so this is a hypothetical, but many people have gotten these loans to go to schools like that. They will have paid more. They won't even know that they paid more. But the price of a used car has been siphoned out of their bank account, possibly influencing life decisions, where they might move to, if they start a business or not. And this is one block of one show.
If you think they're doing it with rates on student loans, what else do you think they're doing it on? And if
no, not you, I know what you're gonna say. It's not cars, it's not houses, it's not any of that. It can't be.
There's no way, right? It's not like communities have been shaped around something like this in our recent past. So please stop bringing up 1960 and 1965, because just with the financial crash, with the housing market happened before, what was happening? What was Wells Fargo apologizing for? Am I right? I don't want to smear Wells Fargo if it was Bank of America. Probably all of them.
Yeah, they deserve it.
So when you shift things and move people out of their communities because of things like this, because financial mobility and stability is something that shapes a lot of people's lives. And upward mobility that you can pass on to your children is a thing. So when your kids don't have anything to go to catapult themselves in their life off of, this cycle of a lower economic class continues. And if you think people who control money don't know that, you're crazy. Yeah. You think they don't know that? You think they just go through life hoarding money and don't know how money works and how things like interest rates and loans actually change people's lives? If you think they don't know that, they're not in the position they got there by just luck.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.